Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi.
It's good to have you on. Now, before we get started, before I introduce you, hello, everyone. Hi, Aces. Welcome back to our Vegas Aces YouTube channel. My name is Heather Ferris, and I'll be your host for today. We are lucky to have a guest on our live stream today, Elizabeth, a Las Vegas casino dealer. Thank you so much for being on here.
No problem.
Cool. Now, just so you know, in this video, we are celebrating Halloween by sharing some spooky casino stories. But before we get started, if you have any questions, please ask them in the live chat and I will answer them at the end of this video. I just want to remind you to like and subscribe and make sure you hit that notification bell so that way you're always notified of our latest videos and live streams. Also, too, in some countries, there is a hype button. So please click that hype button to get our content out there and grow as a channel. If you don't see the hype button, it's probably not available in your country. And if you are brand new to this channel, Vegas Aces helps people learn how to play and deal casino table games. We do that as a way to give back to our community. And we do this at no cost. Please feel free to visit our online dealing trade school at vegas-aces.com for more information. Vegas Aces also has evolved into a marketing business that helps casino game inventors bring their idea to fruition, developing their game and helping inventors place their game on the casino floor. Now, on with the show. We have a lot of stories to get to. We are going to be going back and forth telling stories. Elizabeth, thank you again so much for being a guest on the show. The first one I want to get started with is I was dealing at a casino table game one time, and I saw this man and woman both playing on the slot machine together. The guy stands up, has a seizure, drops down on the casino floor, and I shit you not, the wife leans over and starts playing his slot machine. Like, that's it. And then she's like, yeah, help. Yeah, help. And she's playing both slot machines. And I'm like, are you kidding me? My floor supervisor had to run to the phone, call the ambulance. The ambulance comes, takes care of him. You know, they're prepping him, getting him ready, putting him on the stretcher and everything. And she is literally playing both slot machines at the same time the entire time.
Wow.
It was insane. It was insane. And it's just like, as a casino dealer, you have to stay at your table. So I'm sitting there and I'm watching this because there's nothing really else to do. I was at a dead table and I was just mind blown.
I feel like when you're a dealer, you're like the straight man to like all this craziness that goes around, and you're like glued to your table. So there's like nothing you can do. You can't get away.
Yeah, nothing. You see the craziest things at casinos. It is insane.
Yeah, it's all sorts of people from all over the world. Like,
yes. And they all have different cultures. They all have different ideas, perspectives. And I think it's that clash. What crazy things have you seen in a casino?
Well, I think like I've only been doing it for like a few months. I would say that the craziest thing is just how rude people can be in general. Because like you see movies like Casino, where like I don't know, you see like the gangsters being really rude to the dealers, and you think, oh no, that's no way that could happen in real life. But then you have people like that, like just talk about like, oh, how much they hate the casino. They want a new dealer. They haven't even sat down yet, really, and started playing, and they want to raise the table limit. They have their phone at the table. It's just like any little thing that you could possibly not do. And then like if they're playing like poker, like a poker game, or they stand up and they won't sit down. So it's just the constant just dealing with. It feels like kind of like you're an adult babysitter a little bit.
It really does feel
There's no
like
other way
that.
I can say it. That's like 50% of the job is just being. I'm like I freak out on people sometimes when like after I start dealing the cards, they just start playing with the chips. Like I had this mom and daughter, and they kept arguing, and the mom kept taking the chips after I was dealing the cards. And I finally said to her, "You cannot touch the chips anymore. Like stop." So yeah, just a lot of I don't know, just like little things like that that are like constant. People you don't think
Yeah.
would be a problem become problems.
Oh yeah, completely. And then just so people know, dealers who are out there know, you're not allowed to play on your cell phone or have your cell phone out on the tables because it's actually illegal. So definitely make sure you put your phone away. And when you were mentioning the movie Casino, a lot of times, a lot of people think that it's similar to The Hangover. And then they'll act like the people in The Hangover, and you're like, this is real life. This is not a movie. You cannot act this way.
No, it's funny because like you watch all the scenes from movies, and people seem to think that it's like a movie when they play blackjack. Like this guy
Yeah.
yesterday, this isn't really a horror story, but he was younger, probably was like in his 20s, but he was talking to the dealer like he was a gangster. He was like, "Sweetie, we're gonna make money together," and blah blah blah. And he wasn't joking; he was just being like totally serious.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy. Uh, I have a story talking about your story. You were talking about the mother that was taking the chips and everything. One time I had a guy, it was an older guy and then a younger woman, beautiful woman, and they were sitting on the table and he kept saying that, you know, this is my wife. We're so in love, blah, blah, blah. And then he went to the bathroom. And while he was in the bathroom, the woman's like, "Oh, look at that. We're late for a show. Can you cash us in real quick? I'll go meet another person. We have to go see the show." So I cashed her out, which if you're a casino dealer, do not do this. Like this was a bad thing for me to do. I cashed her out. She took the money and she left. And then the guy came back and he's like, "Where's my money?"
Oh,
Wife took it. You guys were gonna go see a show. That's not my wife. That was some prostitute I paid and but I'm like, oh no, that's not good. She stole all of his
was it
money.
a lot of money?
It was a lot of money.
Oh, jeez.
$1,000. Yeah. And I learned because that's how you learn. You make mistakes and you learn. I learned that the only person that you cash out is the person playing. You do not cash out the money for anyone else, even if they say they're the wife, even if you know they say they're like family. You have to cash out that person and give it to that person and no one else.
I'm gonna have to. Yeah, thanks for reminding me because there's so many couples, and there are a lot of like older men with younger women that I see. So I will definitely have to keep that in mind then. That and to just give the money to whoever, even though it's hard because like yeah, okay, that's a good reminder. So I'm
um,
assuming that guy
so
never saw it again.
I'm sorry.
I'm assuming that guy probably didn't see his money again after that.
No, and I got written up for that. So, it wasn't a good situation, period.
I'm surprised I haven't. Well, I've almost gotten written up. It'll probably happen soon.
It happens. Yeah, it happens to every dealer. It's not the end of the world if you get written up. It's just one of those things. And then the casinos have stages. So they'll have like a verbal warning, they'll have a written warning, they'll have, you know, it's like it goes into stages. So they won't just like fire you.
Mhm.
The only time they might fire you is if it whatever you did involves like hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they're not going to put a newbie on a table where there's hundreds of
But
thousands of
it's like
dollars playing.
there's a high limit, yeah.
Yeah.
But one horror story I did kind of have. Well, okay, there's two that were like really uncomfortable. One happened recently. I think I told you about it earlier, where I was dealing to this guy by himself, and he seemed like whatever, just a quiet guy. But under his breath, he sounded like a serial killer. Like he kept saying like, "I'm gonna murder you. I'm gonna murder this casino," because he kept losing. And I
Oh,
was like, "Oh my goodness, this guy!" I was so glad when he left the table because I've never heard anyone talk like that before. It was insane.
that's really scary.
Yeah.
And Las Vegas, we have shootings in casinos. We have stabbings in casinos. It happens like if you go to the YouTube channel and look up like the Las Vegas local news, which is channel 13, 8, and 3. I don't think you have to put in the call numbers. I think you could just type that in. Check out our local news. Like there is a lot going on in Las Vegas.
Security's busy. I talked to a security guy once, and I'm like, "Is there a lot of stuff he's going on?" He was like, "Oh yeah, stuff you wouldn't even realize I have to deal with." Like, I get
Yeah.
yeah.
No, being friends with the security guards is the best because they tell you all of the crazy stories and everything. It's fun to be friends with a security guard.
I guess the only other story that kind of stuck out in my mind was like when you're like a female casino dealer, like a lot of the customers flirt with you, which is whatever, it's not a big deal. But then there was this one guy who kept asking me to like go home with him, and I made a mistake of telling him when I got off my shift, just
Oh,
which I know I learned from my mistake, and he kept coming back to my table and asking me over and over again if he wanted to meet up after my shift is over. And so I was like, oh my god, do I need to call security to escort me to my car? But like I said, eventually he went away and it was fine. But I think that was the only time when I actually got a little concerned. Like
yeah.
about walking
It
away.
it happens. It definitely happens. I think the first week that I was a casino dealer, I had this 80-year-old guy, like literally at my table every single day, 8 hours a day. And the things he would say were like the grossest, nastiest sexual things you could possibly imagine. And he's saying this on a full table. Like there are a ton of people around and he's saying these things to me. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me?
Yeah,
And
no
then
one
he
stuck up for you or anything. I mean, that's way worse than
no,
what happened to me. Oh my goodness. Okay.
no. My floor supervisor was like, "Do you know this person?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know him, and he's just following me around, and he's here for 8 hours. Like he lost so much money." And then he would follow me, or he followed me to my car one day, so he knew what my car was, and then he would wait for me after work at
Oh
my
my goodness.
car. Yeah, and I had to like get a security guard, like what you were saying, to walk me to my car and tell him to like scram and everything. And it was just so uncomfortable.
Okay, that's a real horror story because like it's not really harmless if he is a little cuckoo, which could happen.
Yeah.
Sounds like he already is cuckoo,
Well,
but like really cuckoo.
and serial killers can like be 80 years old, like
Oh yeah.
creepy, sexual, I can't say that, SA. They can grow up to be 70, 80 years old. So just because they're not as physical as they were when they were younger doesn't mean they still don't have that mind.
Yeah. I guess that's the thing about being a dealer though, is that unless you're doing like a rubber band or like relief, you're just stuck at the same table all
Yep.
night. You can't get away from like certain
Yeah. And players who are verbally abusing you, they know that you're stuck at the table. They know you can't go anywhere and they use that to their advantage. And that's one of the really kind of crappy things about being a casino dealer, but that's what your floor supervisor is there for. Like they're there to protect you. So when you go on break, just, have a little huddle with the floor supervisor, point the guy out. Well, not like point, but like, let them know, hey, the guy on second base is just really creeping me out here. And they'll be there for you. They'll help you.
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel like I mean, it may depend the casino you're at. Some may be worse than others, but I feel
Yeah.
like it's basically a daily thing. You're gonna get abused by customers. It's just inevitable. It's gonna happen a lot. I've
Yeah.
discovered.
You need a thick skin to be in this business. It's really difficult to handle the players. And I tell the people that I talk with, it's not you, it's them. They're going to these casinos where they know casino dealers can't go anywhere to shed their awfulness, to drop their mask and be horrible. And that's how they emotionally regulate. And it's not you, it's just them trying to blow off steam. So please, please, please don't take it personally.
Yeah, it's interesting because you realize it's a place where people go to drink, to kind of just like you said, take their mask off. So you see, I mean, a lot of customers are actually cool and fine,
Yeah,
but then there's like maybe the 10% that just go and like just become like terrible people basically for how long it
exactly.
is.
Exactly. I had I had this one guy, I was dealing to a full table and everyone was losing. It was just one of those nights where I was just really hot and I was getting 21, 21, 21, and everyone was losing their butts. And this guy did a Hail Mary and went all in with like $200 and he lost the bet. And he was drunk. He was so drunk. And after he lost the bet, he looked around the table, grabbed an ashtray that had cigarettes and ash in it, and then threw it at me. And he was drunk enough that he was slow and I was able to sidestep it and it went past me. But my floor supervisor was right behind me. So it hit him in the back. And my floor yeah, and my floor supervisor, he's like 6'5". He's like a bodybuilder and everything. He's this huge guy, like absolute huge guy. And he turned around and he gave this player like the evil eye. And it literally took him like one step to get over to our table. Like that's how big he was. And he like looked at the guy menacingly and he's like, who threw that? And everybody's looking at this dude. So it's obviously him and he's sitting there and his shoulders are hunched and he's looking down and everything and he didn't say anything. And my floor supervisor just laid into him and he's like, you think that it's okay to throw an ashtray at a 5'4" woman, but as soon as it hits me, now it doesn't seem like a good idea. Am I right? And the guy just did not answer. And my floor supervisor like called security and the 86th sim.
Oh, okay, good. Well, that must have that's satisfying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was satisfying.
To all that, like appropriate justice was
Yeah.
served.
No, as soon as they start abusing the floor supervisors, they're done.
They
They're
got
86.
it.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Floors.
they like with different tables, they argue a lot too. Like people, I swear, like Armageddon was gonna break out because one guy split tens. And like, out on him. And I remember thinking I had to call security a couple times because there's sometimes, and then like one of the other guys who's mad about it like bumped the other guy in the head with his hand, which obviously you're not supposed to do. And then the other guy, I thought they were gonna like physically fight. So thankfully security got there like just at the perfect. I was clueless to all that goes on blackjack tables until I started dealing.
Yeah. I literally kept like a journal of all of the stories of everything that happened when I was a casino dealer, just because it was just so mind boggling. And you brought up a fight. We were at a lounge area that had a couple blackjack tables in there and we had the band playing and the band had like a couple of their friends in there. And one of the friends of the band members got in a fight with another player and the player picked up the shot glass off the bar and like whacked him over the head with it and his head split open and he was bleeding everywhere. There was like blood everywhere. And they were like fist fighting and they were on the floor and everybody stopped. Like the band stopped playing and was looking at them. Like we all stopped playing and was looking at them. Like everybody like just stopped what they were doing. It was like, oh my God. And the floorman called security and the security ran down there. And as soon as like the guy that started it, as soon as he saw security, he bolted, like he ran out of there. And then security had to chase him. And they brought him back, which why would you bring him back? Like, I do not understand why they brought him back.
Yeah, I don't know why
they brought him back. Yeah. Exactly. And so they try to fight again, like obviously. So finally the guy that started it, he was like saying to the other guy, the drunk, there were two guys. I'm not giving names, but anyway, he said to the other guy, you're not going to press charges, right? Like, don't press charges. You're not going to press charges. And he didn't press charges. Like we're all like just mind blown that he's not pressing charges to this guy. And
Maybe that's some money, maybe. Good.
yeah, like he got stitches in his head. Like it was just insanity and everything.
Yeah, casinos
Um,
are a crazy place to work. I find it interesting because of the people watching, but yeah, it is kind of crazy.
It is. It really is. The only good thing about that night was there was so much blood in the lounge that they actually had to close the lounge. So we like got sent home early and everything, and the band stopped playing early, and they had to go to the hospital and stuff. But yeah, fights happen in casinos, and
Most of
that's
the
a
like
thing.
your stories are way more amped up than mine. So you see, yeah, and mine are more way less violent than yours.
Well, just wait. Just wait.
Oh yeah, yeah. If I stay, I'm sure I might see more. As long as I
Well,
don't get shot or stabbed.
you had that one story, you were telling me right before we went on about, was it the cage cashier?
Yeah, there was a trial going on for this guy, this poor cage cashier. She was in the employee parking lot, and I believe they targeted her, and they held her at gunpoint and robbed her. And so it sounds like cage cashier is like one of the most dangerous jobs you could do at the casino.
Yeah.
I'm just grateful she didn't get killed or hurt. That's
Yep.
insanely scary.
Yeah, it really is. I know that there's another case going on right now where they called the cage cashier pretending to be like the CEO of the company or the casino, and he wanted her to transfer like millions of dollars into his account, which she did.
She did
Yeah,
it.
and so she did it. Yeah, so he got the money.
That makes me feel
And
stupid. I don't know. I guess I don't know what the job is like, but why would you do that?
right.
Like, it's
Like
not
you don't do
much.
that.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. Wow.
Yeah. Or at least get approval from your
Is
manager
it like
or something.
something written or just like this procedure to do that much money?
Yeah, exactly. But that was one thing, and so they were trying to get the money back for that. Um, there's so many casino stories out there. It's just insanity.
Yeah, it's funny. It's so like there's so much surveillance and stuff, but it seems like a lot of crazy stuff still goes on. But I will say after
Yeah.
hearing the story about the cage cashier, I look like twice every time I go because I work swing shifts. So when I go back, it's like early in the morning.
They even had, I think this was right, I can't say the name of the casino. Okay. At one of the casinos, they had a love triangle between 3 people. It was like, I don't remember. It was one of them was a casino dealer, and then the other 2 were employees of the casino. And it got so bad that they actually one tried to kill one of the other ones by putting like a bomb on his car. There was like a cup on his car, and then the bomb was in the car, and then when he went to like, put the bomb off, it exploded and everything. That was
They were both dating the same woman. It sounds like.
yeah, it was a love triangle between the 3 of them. And so the 2 guys were like fighting and everything about it. And this was either in the 90s or the 2000s. It might have been the 2000s when it happened. But that was crazy too.
Wow. And I just feel like because like I mean there's different size casinos, but with like thousands of employees and just like the weird hours and the weird environment. Yeah, I'm sure all sorts of stuff like that happens. Even though it's probably discouraged, like that you're not supposed to date your employees. But I've heard all sorts of crazy stories about relationships. But I probably won't get into that here. Well,
Yeah,
relationships
it's
happen in casinos.
you don't have to worry just about the players. You also have to worry about your coworkers too. And I asked another casino dealer that I know on to tell stories with us because she had this incredible story, and I couldn't get permission from her to tell the story, so I'm not going to say it. But her coworker, she had a nightmare scenario happen with her coworker. and I really wanted her on here to tell the story because it was just insanity. But you can't, you have to be careful of your coworkers, just like you have to be careful with your players.
Yeah, unless you leave. But it does seem like the dealer industry is so small, especially. Well, it seems like eventually, if you work more than like a few years, you probably get to know who's who, just in general. So I don't
Yeah.
know. You know way more than I do about it. It seems kind
No,
of.
it's true. And that's why networking is so important with casino dealers, because when you are a break-in dealer at a small casino, the friend that you make at that casino could end up being a casino manager at, let's say, for example, the Bellagio or the Cosmopolitan, where they're making 100,000 a year. And then they can juice you in and get you a job as a casino dealer there. And that's why networking is so incredibly important with this industry.
Yeah, just a side note. I was talking to someone who is a dealer at like a high-end strip casino, and he said he's been there for 20 years. He said that him and his people he knew didn't even have to audition to get
Yeah.
into the bid. I was shocked. I thought you had. I thought like at a place like that you'd have to like
If
audition.
they don't know you, you
Okay.
have to audition. If they know you and they know how you deal, don't need an audition.
That's good. That's interesting to know. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, about how it works and everything. Yeah.
I don't remember who told the story last. Do you want to tell a story, or do you want me to tell a story?
You can tell one. Yeah.
Okay. So this one on the Halloween theme is a ghost on the casino table. So I was feeling like double deck blackjack, and it was like a normal Friday night, and I had this guy in his like early 20s sit down at the table, and he changed in, bought in for money and all that. And then after he got his chips, he took this dime bag out of his pocket, and it had dirt on in it, and he put it on his chips. And I'm like, sir, you can't have dirt on the table. And he looked at me and he said, that's not dirt, that's my father. Like, excuse me, I'm sorry, what? And he's like, yeah, my dad just passed away, and he always wanted to go to Las Vegas, so we took his ashes and we put them in a dime bag, and then each of the siblings got a dime bag of dirt, and then we're doing all the stuff that he wanted to do in Las Vegas. And then he whispered to me, like, and then at the end we're gonna spread his ashes at the Bellagio fountain. And I'm like, sir, that's illegal. Like, you're not supposed to do that.
Yeah. That is a crazier story than anything I had. I would not have guessed that in a million years. Did you believed him?
I mean, it looked like ashes. Why would you have dirt on the table? That kind of made sense.
Yeah, it probably was because I know my mom put my dad's ashes in front of like our summer house because that's where he wanted. So that's like just more of an extreme version of.
No. You want an extreme version? Okay, here we go. So this guy was playing on the table there every single day, was a local, he was constantly there every day. He passed away. So his wife took his ashes, came to the casino, and at the table that he played at, like under the table, she spread his ashes under the table. And we're like, you can't do that. And she's like, no, it's fine. And then after she left, we had to have like a porter come in and like vacuum up the ashes and everything.
See, that's just sad. So like the ashes of her deceased, it's just being vacuumed in a casino floor. Okay, that's depressing. Like spread them in the ocean or in the forest where it can be one with nature, not in a dirty casino floor where yeah.
People.
Yeah, there's people.
We're getting close to the end here. Do you want to tell any more stories?
I don't really have any more stories to tell other than just to any dealer, be safe. Because you're talking about all the shootings that go on in casinos and like stabbings and just I see people who I think are on drugs there, and So yeah, just be safe, and that's about it.
Well, we got time for one more story, so I'll tell the last story, and this one's a doozy. We had a high roller playing on the craps table, and he was betting like 5,000 a hand and everything, and he had been there for hours and hours, and he stops playing, and he just stands there, and then he shakes his leg, and then something comes out. And then all of a sudden there's like this really like horrible smell, like really, really awful smell. Like we are not going to sit here and like smell this. And my floor supervisor had to like pull him aside, and then they left. And when they came back, he had a new jogging suit on and everything. And he played for several more hours and stuff. And then later I asked my floor supervisor, like, what the frick happened? And he's like, he didn't want to spend the time to go to the bathroom. So he took a crap on the craps table and then like shook it out of his leg. And then we had to comp him a free jogging suit to make him change so we wouldn't have to smell that.
You didn't just kick him out?
He was a high roller. He was spending way too much money. Like high rollers get away with so much.
I think so. I would think if you defecate in a public place, you most likely will get escorted out, but not if you're a high roller. Wow. There you go. Then.
They wanted him to keep playing.
And to me, what's even more shocking is he has like no shame, doesn't care.
Nope, none at all. And he wasn't the first person to like defecate or urinate in a public space.
Is it
like?
Don't you think he was he's an addict, a gambling addict? Anyone who's willing to do that has got to have an addiction to gambling, unhealthy.
I would say so, probably. But the thing is like as a casino dealer, you can't really say that about people. Like the only thing you could do is just bring it to the attention of the floor supervisor, and then they handle it.
You can't give them one of those pamphlets, like those gambling addiction pamphlets to
yeah. Okay. But it's like that's a management thing for management to deal with, because they have to figure out like, do we want to keep this guy? Is he playing a lot of money? It's just it's insane. But yeah, that's something that the floor supervisors or casino managers deal with, not us, not the casino dealers. We just bring it to their attention. That's all we do.
Well, I think the day that I am dealing and someone defecates is probably the day I'll be like, I think maybe I need to bow out of this industry.
Yeah.
That's a little too much.
That is crazy. So yeah, if you guys are watching, if you have a crazy casino story you want to share, put it in the comments. If you have any questions you want to ask, because we're going to do an AMA at the end of this, go ahead and put your questions in the live chat, and we will answer them at the end of this video. And if you didn't get your question answered on today's chat, then please feel free to join us at 3 p.m. today. So that's in a couple hours. At the live stream, the AMA live stream, we're going to be doing with Michael Shackelford, aka the Wizard of Odds, on his YouTube channel. The Odds Must Be Crazy. And Elizabeth, thanks you so much for joining us and for telling these stories and everything. I really appreciate having you here. And I love your costume too, by the way. Love that.
You should have a happy, fuzzy Christmas story special to counter all the horror stories, all the cute little things that happen at casinos.
Well, Christmas is dead. Like, there's nobody in the casino during Christmas. It's like so dead.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, in Las Vegas, we have the and I think it's the NFR, the National Finals Rodeo, the first 2 weeks of December, which is extremely busy, and you make a lot of good tokes during that time. But then the last 2 weeks of December are just dead.
And they still don't
until you get to. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say they still don't let you. They still block those days from getting off.
Yeah.
Even though it's dead.
Yep. That's because everybody would take it off. Like, you have to be a full-time dealer, and you have to ask for that time off a year in advance in order to get Christmas off.
I see. Okay. So if I'm there, I'll be dealing to like one person. Because you said it's
Probably.
more people there. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, or have a dead table. Yeah.
Which I don't mind.
And
Sometimes.
it used to be torture for me because I'd be on the dead table and they'd be playing Christmas songs, and I just can't stand Christmas songs. So
Oh,
I'd
no.
have to sit there and listen to the Christmas songs, and I'm like, "Oh, this is torture."
Yeah, just sitting, twiddling your thumbs. And I guess where I work, they prohibit all Crossfire. Like
Yep.
it was like completely prohibited. I don't know why they're so serious about it, so you can't talk to anyone.
Yeah, and that's with every single casino that you'll ever work at. Crossfire is a big no-no. And for people who are watching, Crossfire is when you have a table and the dealer at this table can't talk to the dealer on the table next to them.
Yeah.
So thank you, Elizabeth. I really appreciate it.
Happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween.
All right, bye.
Bye. So we are going to answer some AMA questions. Again, if you have a question you want answered, please put it in the chat and we will answer it in the order it is received. I also have a couple questions here from LinkedIn, Brian from LinkedIn. First, real quick, I want to say hi to David. Hi, David. It's so good to see you. I hope you have a happy Halloween too. And thank you so much for joining us and everything. And David also said, great stories. Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. I really appreciate that, David. Thank you. It's so good to see you. So good to have you on. You're like, it's one of my favorite. David is one of my favorite people. Thank you. Okay, so let's answer some questions. Again, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We will answer them in the order that they're received. First question, these are all questions from Brian from LinkedIn. Paying with dirty money. Is this a hard no? Or is this okay in certain circumstances? For example, 3-card poker, they lose the bonus, but win the ante. Is it okay to push the bonus down to the ante if it's the exact same chip? Now, this is a little iffy. Technically, it's a hard no. You never pay with dirty money. Never pay with dirty money. That doesn't mean casino dealers don't do this. They'll do this to save time, to make the game go faster because hands per hour matters with a dealer. So you will see casino dealers doing this. And if they do it, they're not going to get in trouble for it. They're not going to get written up for it. You might have a floor supervisor come to your table and be like, dude, don't do that. That's not cool. But it's not like the worst thing in the world. But if you want to be a good, proper dealer, then never pay with dirty money. Always pay with clean money. And for those out there watching, dirty money is a casino bet, chips that just lost. You're supposed to put those chips in the bank and then take clean chips. The chips that are in the bank are considered clean money, and then you pay with clean money. If you have a losing bet, let's say 3-card poker, for example, the pair plus loses, and then you pay the ante with the money on pair plus, that's paying with dirty money. You're not supposed to do that. Okay, so number 2. What skills does the dealer need in high limit that they don't need in a party pit? So experience. A party pit dealer doesn't typically, normally, this isn't the case for everyone, normally doesn't have as much experience as someone in the high limit area. They also don't know as many games. A lot of party pit dealers only know blackjack because there's only blackjack in the party pit. There aren't any other games in the party pit. So it's rare to find a casino dealer who's in the party pit who is experienced with many, many years of experience, or they know multiple games. Usually when they put dealers in the high limit area, it is dealers who have been dealing for a long time, who have a lot of experience, who are good at what they do. They know the game, they follow procedures. For example, they don't pay with dirty money. So it is a really clean and efficient and effective dealer that they put in the high limit area. So that's typically the difference as far as the skills needed for high limit versus the party pit. Party pit, it's more customer friendly. So you're going to see more like cheerful people in the party pit, people who are happy, lucky, go lucky, and they are more entertaining type of a thing. Whereas in the high limit area, they might be more experienced, they might know what they're doing, but they might not be as sociable in the high limit area. And that's okay, because a lot of high limit people don't want their dealers talking, so it ends up working. But again, every casino is different. We had one George, a high roller who was playing, who he liked a certain dealer, and the dealer always worked in the normal pit. He was a roulette dealer in the normal pit, but this high roller kind of had a crush on him. So they would take the dealer out of the pit, and then they would put him in the high limit area, or sometimes they would have like a specific area for this high roller, and then they would have him deal to this high roller because the high roller had a crush on him. So it really, really just depends on the situation. Again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'm glad I answered your question before you had a chance to ask it. Thanks, David. The next question that Brian has from LinkedIn is, what's the hardest game to deal besides dice? Dice is the hardest game to deal. Any other game, it will take you a very short amount of time to learn the game and eventually get used to it, so you can deal it. But when it comes to craps, it will take 2 years being on the game, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. It'll take 2 years just to become decent. Not even good, just decent. So that doesn't even include all of the time and effort it takes to learn the game. There is just so much there and so much you could do and so much math involved, that it takes an extremely long time to learn the game. And that's why when I have new students join us on, for our free dealer trade school, teaching them how to deal, I always tell them, you want to learn all of the games, but if you're going to learn craps, learn that very last, like have that be the last thing that you do, because it takes so long. And it's just, what's the word I'm looking for? It can kind of zap you. It could like steal your soul. Like it's kind of depressing how long it takes. So that's why I'm like, that should be the very, very last game you learn. Very last game. Next up is, and definitely don't, like, if you're going to learn craps first, that's hard, because now you're learning like how to cut chips. You're learning like keys. You're learning like all of the normal stuff the dealers learn. You have to learn as you're learning craps. Whereas if you learn blackjack, roulette, pai gow, all that stuff, you know how to cut checks, you know about keys, you know about all this stuff. So it just makes it harder for yourself if you start with craps. Next up is, will we eventually see commission payouts to be phased out in Baccarat or pai gow? And I just realized at this very moment, I should have had these typed out and put up on the screen so you guys could see the questions that I'm answering, and I apologize for that. Will we eventually see commission payouts be phased out in Baccarat or pai gow? They are already phased out. So you have commission-free Baccarat, you have commission-free pai gow. There are games like that out there. They might not be at your casino, but they do exist, and they are in some selected Las Vegas casinos. The last question that Brian from LinkedIn has is, And before we get to it, again, if you have any questions, speak now or forever hold your peace. Brian's last question is, as a whole, are things like digital card readers on Baccarat and light up payout displays on craps better or worse for dealers? On one hand, you can put basically anyone up there and the margin of error for payouts is way lower. On the other hand, dealers don't need to have an in-depth understanding of the game. And I could see that leading to less tips because there's less interactions and it looks like the dealer is running a machine, not running the table. There are some games where that's basically all it is, like Rapid Roulette. That's basically all it is. It's like you're playing on a machine and all the dealer does is spin the ball. Like that's the whole game. There are a few displays and mechanics machines out there that do help with the payouts and that type of a thing, but that's not good for the dealer. The dealer doesn't learn anything. They don't learn the payouts. They don't learn the keys. It's just like a muscle that you are working on. If you use it all the time, then it's a lot easier to use. It's a lot easier to do. And there are times where the machines aren't working, where they are off and you can't use them. And then if you've been relying on them all this time and now you have to pay the bet out, then that's not going to help you at all. Sometimes they'll use these machines on tables with break-in dealers. But again, you're not teaching that dealer anything. That's not helping them in the long run. They're not learning how to actually deal the game and do the math and that type of a thing. So there are some pros and cons. Pros, it does make it a lot easier. Cons, the machine doesn't work all the time and then you have to do it. And if you're not used to doing it, that's just going to be one huge headache. So it really just depends on the situation. Also, too, it depends on the evolution of the casino. We've seen the casinos evolve to start incorporating electronics into the games. For example, there are a ton of casinos in Las Vegas that have a computer right next to the game, and that helps the floor supervisor. That helps them keep track of how much the people are playing, how long they're playing for. You have RFID on the table where it can actually sense how much the person is playing and how long they're playing for. So we are going to see an evolution of casinos as we move into a digital age. So it just depends on how that evolution happens. I can't read the future. I don't know what's going to happen. I just know that for now and for the last 10 years, it is better for the dealer to know how to deal the game versus relying on a machine, because sometimes the machine is not always there. Okay, so I don't see any more questions in the comments. David, it was really good to see you. Thank you so much for putting those compliments in the comments. I really do appreciate it. And yeah, it's always good to see you, David. And then again, if you didn't have a chance to ask your question, please feel free to join us at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at the Wizard of Odds YouTube channel. The Odds Must Be Crazy. I'll be there hosting with Michael Shackelford. And we do have one more question, skill and luck, which, by the way, I'm looking forward to seeing you at Shackelford's live stream. Thank you for joining us here. I thought dealers use the color of the chips to help deal instead of using math. Your thoughts? You are absolutely correct. So there are two ways to pay a bet. You could pay a bet per math. For example, if you are on roulette and you have 3 chips straight up, it would be 3 times 35, which would be 105. Now, what happens if those chips are not dollar chips? What if they're $5 chips? Well, then you could still do the math, but the math is a little harder. So what dealers do is they pay per unit, which is what you're talking about. They use the color of the chips to help them deal. And paying per unit makes dealing so much easier, like so incredibly easier. I suggest to any dealer out there that if you're having trouble with the math, pay per unit, and that's going to make things a lot easier. So if you have a person playing $5 on the roulette wheel, instead of thinking, okay, how much in dollars do I have to pay this person out? You still see 3 chips, and you know 3 chips pays 105. So that makes it a lot easier for you to deal. Also on blackjack, you're paying 1.5, 3-2. So if you see 2 chips on the table, it doesn't matter if those 2 chips are $5, $25, $100. You're going to pay 3 chips to those 2 chips. So you're paying per unit. It makes dealing so much easier. So much easier. Thank you, Skill and Luck, so much for asking that question. And then it looks like we have one more question. Let's see if I can move. There we go. David says, has technology changed casinos? Like, do these fancy machines take the place of dealers when they go to digital games? Great question. We have had a couple throughout 2000s, 2010s, even to 2020s, we've had that happen. There are kiosks in the casino where it's a blackjack kiosk and the dealer is electronic. It's like a person on a screen, and they have their standard sayings. Good job. Oh, you did so great on that. Oh, it looks like you lost, but they say the same thing over and over again. And those games have not done very well. Like, they've had to take those games out because nobody's playing on them. One of the things that is novel about blackjack and other casino games is you have a live dealer on that game. You could talk to them. You can have a conversation with them. A lot of times dealers are kind of like your pseudo therapist. Well, they'll sit there and they'll listen to you vent. And that's the thing about casinos. Nobody knows you. They don't know your wife or your kids or your friends or the people that you work with. You could say whatever you want to them and it's not getting back to any of those people. So a lot of players will use dealers as like pseudo therapists. And you can't do that to a machine. You can't do that to a kiosk. There's nothing coming back, with that. There's no interaction. And that interaction is part of the reason why people like casino games so much. So they haven't really been able to make those games take off. They don't have that much popularity. Same with the stadium casinos, the casino games. There are stadium casino games where there's one dealer and there's like 50 it looks kind of like slot machines, but they're not slot machines. They look like video poker machines, I should say. And you could play on the like machine and you could play the game, but you can't interact with that dealer. That dealer is on the stage and you can't talk to them. You can't have an interaction with them. They're spinning the ball. They're pulling out the cards. They're doing whatever they need to do to keep the game moving, but there's no interaction. And with the way the stadium is, where it's like row upon row upon row, you don't really have a way to interact with the other players as well. So those aren't as popular as, let's say, blackjack or craps or that type of a thing. And that social aspect is just so important for casino games. Okay, let's see if anyone has any other questions. And yes, that did make sense. Thank you, David. And yeah, you're right. A lot of people like to interact with a person, not a machine. Seems disconnected. Exactly. Okay, that looks like it's it. So it looks like we're done. Please join us every Thursday as we release a new video. We are giving you some updates. We are still working on the craps video. We are still working on the roulette video. Our consultant for the roulette video came back. Everything looks good. So we are getting started with those. The script is completely done. we ended up adding a couple more scripts to the How to Deal video series. So instead of 7 videos, we're going to have 9 videos. So we've been working on those scripts as well. And then with the How to Play Craps video series, which is 7 videos, the scripts are all done. Everything's done with that. So now we're recording. We were supposed to shoot the B-roll yesterday, but something came up and we had to move the date. So now we're going to shoot the video on November 13th. And then the first week or 2 of November, we're going to be shooting not just the B-roll, but with our host, Angela, as well. So we are gathering the video, shooting that, getting that together. After we get that together, we're going to have to edit it. So that'll probably take the rest of November. So we should have that out in December. I'm sorry it's taken so long, but that's the thing about doing these type of videos. They take a long time, a lot of effort, a lot of time, and a lot of money to produce and make and get out there. So, but we are working on it. We do have, again, 7 videos for how to play craps. And then we have 9 videos for how to deal roulette. And then we have 1 really long video for how to play roulette. So we are working on it. We're getting it out there. We're also going to be recording roulette probably in November as well. So we're going to get that out maybe in December, I'm hoping, as well. And then we also have 1 really long How to Deal Blackjack that's upgraded. I know I have like a How to Deal Blackjack up there already, but it's so freaking old. So we redid the How to Deal Blackjack. That's all done. We're going to be posting that here, hopefully in November, fingers crossed. So that way we could get that out. And then we have another really long, hour-long video on how to give yourself a raise as a casino dealer. You've been seeing little snippets of it in the shorts. So that's going to be coming out hopefully in November as well, fingers crossed. We got 1 more question and then we'll end the video, unless another person puts a question out there. Let's see. Skill and Luck says, will you ever go back to dealing live games on your channel here like you did in the past? Probably not. A lot of people didn't like that. I did that for several years. I tried to make it fun and festive, but it didn't get a lot of views. People find it to be very confusing. They don't like it. So I'm probably not going to do it again. They like the type of videos that we're doing right now, where it is scripted and we have B-roll and we're showing people specifically what to do, and there's no extra stuff like songs or, disco lighting or answering your questions or, the beginning where I'm like, hey, what's up, people? They just didn't like that. So we are trying to go with our views. If we have a lot of views on a video or a lot of subscribers on a video, we're going to try to make more videos like that. If we don't have a lot of views or subscribers on another video, we're going to try to do less videos like that. So that's part of the fun of having a YouTube channel, is trying to figure out what people want. The thing is the videos that people want are the videos that take a lot of time and effort and money to make. So it's just one of those things. And then after we do the How to Play Craps video, we're also going to be doing the How to Deal Craps video, and that's going to be huge. That might take a year to try to, write and produce and all of that stuff. But after the How to Play, we'll start working on the How to Deal Craps videos. And we'll still have these live streams too, because it is good to get information out there, but it's also good to be here for you guys so I can answer your questions if you have any questions. I'm so glad you had fun. That's awesome. Okay, so that looks like it's it. So we are done for today. That does it for today's show. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe. Do you want to see our content 5 days early? You can subscribe to us on Patreon, where we give our Patreons exclusive early access and coach new dealers on how to get in the industry. Also, our business helps casino game inventors with developing their idea, bringing it to fruition, and onto the casino floor. Just a quick reminder, Just a quick reminder, we have one more question, and then I'll do just the quick reminder. Have you thought about doing streaming on Twitch or doing games like that for Blackjack? Yes, we did used to have a Twitch channel. The really crappy thing about Twitch is if you don't keep it up, if you, let's say, stop doing any of that, which we can't do Twitch like this, like what we're doing right now, we can't do it. And we would have to do like 2 videos a week to do Twitch. If you don't do that, they'll take all your videos down and they won't like have your channel up anymore. And it's kind of stinks because I like having my videos up so that way people can watch it later. So we stopped using Twitch for that. Okay, just a quick reminder, Vegas Aces is supported by viewers like you. Click that hype button if you have that in your country to help us grow as a channel, or you can donate. Donations make it possible for all of these videos to be brought to you for free. If you think this video is worth more than $0, please donate the amount you feel it's worth by clicking the link in the description below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please join us on our next video. We have a new video every Thursday. And if you're looking for even more content, check out our other videos here on the screen. I'll have them somewhere. We also offer interview transcripts, flashcards, dealer instruction manuals, and the world's first Toke board, and so much more on our website, vegas-aces.com. We are also uploading a new article on vegas-aces.com almost every day, so check it out for new content. And you can find all of those links in the description below. Until next time, stay lucky, aces, and happy Halloween. See you later. Bye.